Thanks, Emily. Chief Rabbi, Rabbis, Lords, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to Guildhall for World Jewish Relief's annual dinner. Thank you to the acting Israeli ambassador and chargé d'affaires, Eitan Naer, for being here, and to Israel Bonds for their support. It's always a pleasure to have our friend and partner, the American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee, represented, this year by its CEO, Alan Gill. I'd also like to welcome here tonight and thank some of our closest supporters, including Richard Desmond and those representing the Morris and Vivian World Foundations. Some thank yous too to 3 trustees of World Jewish Relief, stepping down this year after many years of outstanding service. First, thanks to Paul Balcombe for his dedication, passion, single-minded commitment to our cause. And to Sue Mandelbaum for her exemplary stewardship of our allocations process and the wisdom and humanity she's applied to every part of our endeavors. And finally, Linda Rosenblatt. Linda will continue to remain intimately involved with the organization as she has agreed to serve as a life vice president. She is the single most dedicated, hardworking, persuasive, and thoughtful asset that this organization has had for over the last 20 years. She's an inspiration to all of us and a jewel of our community. Suffice to say, thanks to Linda, Sue and Paul, tens of thousands of people have led immeasurably better lives. As ever, this dinner is about raising money for our core projects, assisting vulnerable Jews and their communities in the former Soviet Union. But as well as raising money for our core projects, our dinner is also a moment both to reflect on what we have achieved and to explain our ambition. And what a momentous year to reflect upon. In addition to our work in war-torn Ukraine and in the rest of the former Soviet Union, we have seen our community's incredible reaction to both the Nepal earthquake and the refugee crisis. And the prism through which we look at all of this tonight is the story of the boys that I am so proud we are telling and which serves as a reminder of our history and a guide to our present. Because what are we about? We're about 2 Jewish instincts. The first, to help others in need, our community, and then where we can, beyond our community too. And the second instinct, when helping, to get people back onto their feet, to live life with dignity and to look after themselves. Those instincts, contained within our Jewish DNA, are what we did with the boys and what characterize and unify our work in Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, Nepal, and on the shores of Greece. In Ukraine last month, I met Valentina. She's an elderly lady who, when I met her 2 years ago, was timid and tearful. She had barely left her home for years, which was so decrepit that she couldn't safely get in and out. She was retreating into a pitiful existence of isolation. We repaired her home. Nothing remotely fancy, just a safe entrance, and replaced her windows. Her 1-room apartment in which she washes, sleeps and cooks and lives is still nothing much, but now she's able to come and go she does. Every day she's at the Jewish Community Center, meeting friends, celebrating Shabbat and the Chagim, and enjoying her later years. The Valentina I met last month looked 20 years younger than she did 2 years ago. Your support has transformed her life. And extrapolate that 1,248 times, because that is how many homes we have prepared since we started 4 years ago. And think too about the over 15,000 graduates of our incredible livelihood development program, which has improved the lives of over 56,000 people thanks to the generosity of the people in this room and our other supporters. And the expertise our world-class professional team applies in developing those long-term strategic interventions, we deploy in emergencies too. Last week, I was honored to be in Greece, traveling with Chief Rabbi Mervis and other rabbis, where I visited Idomeni, the transit camp through which up to 10,000 refugees are processed every day on their journey through Europe. It is traumatic to witness this mass movement of humanity, but it's a privilege too, to hear people's stories, to be able to individualize the statistics, to have a short, intimate encounter in a historic moment is truly a privilege. One example of many was the humbling 15 minutes we spent with the 18-year-old Afghani traveling alone just before he walked over the border. He was fleeing the traumas of a murdered father, the Taliban, and now ISIS. But his stoicism, ambition, and gratitude will never leave us. The crisis is highly complex, and last weekend tragically made it even more so. And our response, as ever, is a purely humanitarian one, reconnecting us with our history and bringing us right back to this evening as we celebrate the boys and their achievements. That history and the ongoing vital humanitarian work that I have seen in Ukraine and Greece in the past weeks is made possible through the outstanding dedication and generosity of you and this magnificent community of ours. And just as we have with the boys, Valentina, or the nameless refugee, with your help, we will continue to apply both our Jewish soul and our Jewish sechel to respond to crisis and trauma and to give people the tools to rebuild their lives and live them in dignity. Thank you. Finally, although he was unable to join us, the Prime Minister has sent a message for tonight. Thank you.
I'm sorry I can't be with you tonight, but on behalf of the whole country, I want to thank you for all that World Jewish Relief is doing to bring compassion and care to the world's most vulnerable people. Tonight, you remember the inspiring story of 732 orphaned young men and women who lost everything in the Holocaust and who World Jewish Relief helped to rescue and bring to a new life here in Britain. I've met a number of these incredible survivors through the work of my Holocaust Commission, and it's absolutely right that we should honour their extraordinary contribution to our country. But tonight is also about the work of World Jewish Relief today, from helping the unemployed, the elderly, and the internally displaced in the Ukraine, to supporting refugees fleeing conflict and persecution across the world. Your determination to help those in need epitomises not just the very best of Britain's Jewish community, but the very best of Britain. I'm proud that we're a country that keeps its promises to the poorest and that we have inspirational charities like World Jewish Relief helping to deliver those promises on the front line. So thank you again for all that you're doing, and I wish you a great evening.